Welcome to this module with Chris Newton, founder of Marketing Help Online. Here's Chris.
There's another concept that I'd like you to think about, and it's this. It's the acquisition allowable. You see, most businesses look at lead generation, that first getting customers or clients, in a very myopic way. We run ads. We might have an ad hoc word of mouth happening. But what we don't look at is, what's it worth to us to actually get a customer or a client? Because once you know what that figure is, it changes your whole dynamic about what you can be prepared to do or invest to get a new client. My belief is most businesses succeed by default. Most businesses succeed by accident because most businesses acquire the first sale at a loss. And it just happens that the person comes back and buys again, almost by accident, because there's no nurturing program, there's no system, there's no structure in place, or no referral system. And if you are losing money on the first sale, you've got an extraordinarily vested interest in making certain that person comes back to you and back to you and back to you, and that your competitors won't take them away from you. Can you see how this is creating a sense of direction in what you need to do in your business? So lifetime value and acquisition allowable. And why would someone buy from us? How can you use all of those things now as we've built this picture to grow your business? There is a great saying which I didn't invent, but it's a really good one for anyone in business, and that is, what you don't measure, you cannot manage. You know, my experience with business is that most people spend more effort and more energy deciding what photocopier to use or to buy than they do on their advertising, their word of mouth, their trade shows, their yellow pages. Most people do not track and measure those things. You know, I was talking to one of our clients from Melbourne. This gentleman is a carpet cleaner, and I asked him what his marketing thrust was, and he said, well, we spend $19,000 on yellow pages and Melbourne Big. I said, that's interesting. Tell me, how many calls do you get off that? And he said, oh, we do sort of note it down somewhere. And I said, well, I'd like you to tell me how many calls you get. And he said, well, I'll just pull it out. And he worked it out, and he said it was something in the order of 540 a month. And he was really happy with that. I said to him, well, you're spending $19,000 on yellow pages and Melbourne Big. What else do you do from a marketing perspective? What is your other expenditures? He said, oh, that's all the money we spend. The rest is just word of mouth that flows in. And I said to him, okay, so you're spending 100% of your advertising budget on yellow pages and Melbourne Big. Let's work out how much of the sales that you generate actually comes out of that area. Do you know, when he worked it out, he was absolutely shocked, taken aback. 100% of his advertising expenditure was in yellow pages, less than 20% of all the sales. Most of those people, he said, are tire kickers. His business came out of other areas, referral, repeat purchase, and he had never thought of it, and yet he's pouring all this resource into his yellow pages. Can you see, no matter what your marketing efforts are, if you're not tracking and measuring it, please don't expect that you're going to get maximum return on your dollar. If you don't know where it's coming from, how do you know whether to spend money there or not? If you don't know what your acquisition allowable is, how do you know whether or not it's good or not? Just for the exercise, if I run an ad and I spend $2,000 on that ad, is it a good ad or a bad ad? It's a dumb question, isn't it? Because we don't know how many inquiries and sales we got off it. So the first thing we need to do is track and measure it. How many inquiries did we get? First question. The next thing we need to know is how many of those inquiries actually converted into a sale. What's the conversion rate? How many of you could tell me what your conversion rate from inquiry to sale is? You see, if you don't know what your conversion rate is, well, it's a little bit like this for our golf fanatics. You're a golfer, Andrew? That's a golf green, right? Golfing green. And let me just draw a picture of you here, Andrew. There's you, and there's your putter, right? Now, you're going to putt from there to there. Is that a good putt or a bad putt? What's the key question, however? Where's the hole? You see, you would never go out onto a golf green and putt without knowing where the hole is. And yet most businesses that I come across are out there putting every day, spending money on their marketing, having salespeople out in the marketplace, having ads, brochures, sales letters, direct mail pieces, quote forms, without any tracking or measuring of what's actually happening. And you could actually be losing money hand over fist or wasting that money. You might be spending 5, 6 times to get a sale than what you actually need to. If A, you're not measuring, and B, you're not benchmarking it against what's acceptable. We teach people to maximize that outcome. Another important point. People say to me, oh, but you don't understand how busy it is in our place. You don't understand that my people get too busy. They do it for a week and then they stop doing it. And if your people stop doing it, whose fault is it? Is it their fault? No. Because chances are they don't understand why they are doing it. They need to understand what part they play in the jigsaw puzzle to make this machine work. They need to understand the why. And the why comes back to tracking and measuring. There is another great saying, don't ever expect anything unless you inspect. Don't expect unless you inspect. If you don't inspect what's happening, if you don't constantly track your acquisition costs, your effectiveness of your marketing, inquiries. You see, you can get Yellow Pages inquiries and you can get inquiries from referral. Which one of those is likely to convert the highest, Yellow Pages or referral? Referral. But unless you know what the difference is, how do you know what to shoot for?